Chosen one. Stop scrolling. Right now. Stop. Are you tired of watching everyone else get their breakthrough while you sit in the waiting room of God's promises? Are you exhausted from being the bridesmaid at everyone else's miracle while your own blessing feels lost in heaven's mail? Have you whispered in the dark, "God, do you even see me anymore?" What if I told you that this Thursday, was never just another day on your calendar? What if I told you that while you've been questioning your worth, heaven has been orchestrating something so precise, so perfectly timed, that it would make skeptics fall to their knees? Listen to me carefully, beloved. Thursday carries a frequency that most people miss entirely. It's the day when heaven's gears click into perfect alignment, when the veil between the spiritual and natural becomes paper thin, when God's appointments collide with human desperation. You didn't stumble onto this message. You were summoned. There's a divine restlessness stirring in your chest right now, isn't there? That's not anxiety, that's recognition. Your spirit knows what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Thursday isn't coming empty-handed to your door. It's carrying something with your name carved into it, something that's been delayed, not as punishment, but as preparation. But here's the shocking truth they don't want you to know. Every rejection you've faced, every door that slammed shut, every time you felt invisible, it wasn't God forgetting you. It was God protecting what He was preparing for you. Thursday is your divine appointment with destiny. Before we go deeper into this supernatural revelation, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating. You're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and plant that seed of faith. Now, if you feel that electric current running through your spirit right now, if something inside you is screaming, "This is for me," type 777 in the comments. Don't just watch this message like a spectator. Step into the alignment that heaven is orchestrating around your life this very moment. Because what I'm about to reveal about Thursday will shatter every lie you've believed about God's timing, your worth, and why your blessing has been delayed until now. The question isn't whether this Thursday will change everything. The question is, are you ready to receive what's been waiting for you to be ready? Why do you think you felt forgotten on so many Thursdays? Why does Thursday carry that peculiar weight, that sense of being stuck between what was and what could be? Why, when you look back at your life, do some of your most profound moments seem to cluster around this seemingly ordinary day? Let me tell you something that will shake the very foundation of how you see time itself. Thursday is not random in God's calendar. It never has been. You see, beloved, most people rush through Thursday like it's just another stepping stone to Friday's relief. But you chosen one, you've always felt different about Thursdays, haven't you? There's something in the air that makes you pause, makes you wonder, makes you feel like you're standing on the edge of something significant. That feeling? It's not your imagination. It's spiritual recognition. Let me take you back to the most important Thursday in human history. Picture this. A dimly lit upper room in Jerusalem. 13 men gathered around a simple wooden table, the air thick with anticipation and sorrow. Jesus, the Son of the living God, washing the feet of men who would abandon him within hours. Maundy Thursday, the Thursday of commandments, the Thursday of preparation. But here's what most people miss about that night. Jesus didn't choose Thursday randomly. He chose it because Thursday carries a unique spiritual frequency, the frequency of transition, of preparation, of divine appointments that change everything. Think about it. On that Thursday night, Jesus gave his disciples the blueprint for everything that would follow: the communion, the commandment to love, the promise of the Holy Spirit, the preparation for resurrection power. Everything they would need for the revolution that was coming was downloaded on a Thursday. Thursday is not just another day. Thursday is the day heaven leans in, but it doesn't stop there, dear one. Look deeper into Scripture, and you'll see the pattern emerge like a hidden code written in eternity itself. Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dreams and was elevated to second in command, transforming from prisoner to prince in a single day. What day? Ancient records suggest it was a Thursday. One conversation, one divine interpretation, one moment of alignment, and the entire economic future of Egypt shifted. Daniel refused the king's food and chose to honor God instead, a decision that positioned him for 70 years of prophetic influence. The text tells us this stand began on the fourth day of their training. Thursday. One choice, one act of faithfulness, one Thursday that echoed through generations. Moses encountered the burning bush while tending sheep in the wilderness, an ordinary day that became the launch pad for the greatest liberation in human history. Jewish tradition places this encounter on a Thursday. One moment of curiosity about a flame that wouldn't die became the spark that freed a nation. Do you see the pattern? Thursday is the waiting room before breakthrough. Thursday is the quiet hallway before the doors swing open. But let me get personal with you for a moment. How many Thursdays have you dismissed as meaningless when heaven was actually orchestrating something magnificent? How many times have you felt that strange stirring, that unexplainable anticipation, that sense that something was about to shift only to brush it off because it was just Thursday? You've been trained to expect miracles on Sundays, breakthroughs on Mondays, fresh starts on New Year's Day. But God operates outside human scheduling systems. He specializes in ordinary moments that become extraordinary memories. Thursday is the day when heaven's gears align with earth's desperate need. I can see some of you right now, sitting there thinking about a Thursday that changed everything for you. Maybe it was the Thursday you got that phone call. Maybe it was the Thursday you made that decision. Maybe it was the Thursday when everything fell apart, or the Thursday when everything finally came together. That wasn't coincidence. That was divine appointment. Here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. Every Thursday carries potential for supernatural intervention. Every Thursday is a doorway disguised as an ordinary day. Every Thursday, heaven leans in just a little closer to earth, listening for the prayers of those who recognize the moment. But most people miss it because they're looking for their breakthrough to come with trumpets and angels. They expect their miracle to arrive with a heavenly postal service stamp. They think divine appointments come with advance notice and red carpet treatment. God doesn't work that way. He hides his greatest moves in plain sight. The burning bush looked like every other bush in the wilderness, until Moses turned aside to look. The upper room looked like every other room in Jerusalem, until Jesus transformed it into the birthplace of the church. The prison cell looked like every other dungeon until God shook the foundations and set the captives free. Thursday looks like every other day until you recognize it as your divine appointment. This Thursday, the one approaching your life right now, is not coming empty-handed. It's been loading up in the spiritual realm, gathering momentum, collecting the pieces of your breakthrough that have been scattered across months and years of preparation. Your Thursday is pregnant with possibility. But here's the question that will determine everything. When your Thursday arrives, will you recognize it? When the ordinary moment becomes extraordinary, will you turn aside to look? When heaven leans in and whispers your name, will you hear it above the noise of your routine? The pattern is there, beloved. Written in Scripture. Confirmed in history, validated by the testimonies of countless saints who dared to believe that Thursday was more than just another day. So let me ask you this. What Thursday from your past changed everything? What seemingly ordinary day became the hinge on which your destiny turned? Because if you've lived long enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Share it in the comments below. Tell us about that one Thursday you'll never forget. Because your testimony might be the confirmation someone else needs to recognize their own Thursday miracle when it arrives. But right now, I need you to prepare yourself for what I'm about to reveal next. Because if Thursday is the day heaven leans in, then what I'm about to show you about this specific Thursday will change how you see the next 48 hours of your life. Dear chosen one, I need to speak to something that's been sitting heavy on your heart for decades. That weight you carry, the one you've never told anyone about, the one that visits you at 3 a.m. when the house is quiet and your thoughts are loud. You prayed for healing that didn't come when your body needed it most. You stood over hospital beds, whispering desperate prayers while machines beeped the rhythm of your breaking heart. You buried dreams alongside loved ones, watching dirt cover not just caskets but every hope you'd carried for 40, 50, 60 years. You've asked God the question that burns in every senior's soul. Why did I have to walk through so much hell just to get to Thursday morning coffee alone? Listen to me carefully, beloved. What if I told you that every single tear you've cried wasn't wasted water? What if every sleepless night wasn't punishment, but preparation? What if Thursday's breakthrough required Thursday's specific recipe of pain? You see, there's a grandmother in the Bronx right now, let's call her Maria, who's been praying for her grandson for 15 years. 15 years of watching him disappear into addiction, watching him steal from her purse, watching him break promises like they were made of glass. Last Thursday, that same grandson walked into her kitchen, fell to his knees and said, "Grandma, I'm ready to get clean." 15 years of what looked like unanswered prayer. But heaven was working in the dark. You think your struggles were random? Think again. Job lost everything: wealth, health, children, not because God hated him, but because heaven needed to prove something to hell itself. Job 1-8 records God saying to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job?" God was so confident in Job's character that he allowed the testing. The pain wasn't punishment, it was promotion into a testimony that would echo through eternity. Joseph spent 13 years in slavery and prison. 13 years. While his brothers lived comfortable lives, Joseph was learning Egyptian, understanding economics, developing the character to save nations. Genesis 50-20 reveals the master plan. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Your divorce wasn't just heartbreak, it was God removing what would have stopped your Thursday breakthrough. Your financial losses weren't just bad luck, they were heaven clearing space for what couldn't fit in your old life. Your health scares weren't just medical mysteries, they were divine course corrections, steering you toward Thursday's appointment. Think about silver in the refiner's fire. The silversmith doesn't put precious metal into 1832-degree flames to destroy it. He does it to purify it. And how does he know when the process is complete? When he can see his own reflection in the molten silver. God has been watching his reflection emerge in you through every trial. But here's where it gets controversial, where some of you might want to turn this off. Your Thursday breakthrough required your Wednesday breakdown. Your promotion demanded your pain. The very thing that tried to kill you was actually killing everything in you that couldn't handle what God was preparing. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. 27 years. But when he walked out, he wasn't just a man, he was a movement. He said, "There is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." Prison didn't break him. It broke everything in him that was too small for his destiny. You've been in your own Robben Island, haven't you? Maybe it was caring for a spouse with dementia for 10 years. Maybe it was raising grandchildren when you thought you were done raising children. Maybe it was burying 3 friends last year while wondering when your turn would come. But what if Thursday reveals that every goodbye was preparing you for the greatest hello of your life? Here's what shakes me to my core. Your pain has an expiration date, but your purpose doesn't. The suffering that seemed pointless was actually prophetic. It was preparing you for a Thursday breakthrough so specific, so perfectly timed, that only someone who'd walked through your exact valley could handle your exact mountain. David wrote Psalm 23 not in a palace, but while running from King Saul in desert caves. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. He didn't write that from comfort, he wrote it from the place where death's shadow was real, where fear was justified, where most people would have given up. But David understood something that Thursday is about to teach you. The valley isn't your destination, it's your education. Every senior citizen watching this has been educated by pain in ways that Harvard Business School could never teach. You've earned a PhD in perseverance, a master's degree in faith under fire, a bachelor's in believing when you couldn't see. Thursday isn't coming to give you something you don't deserve. Thursday is coming because you've been shaped into someone who can finally handle what heaven has been holding. Your Thursday pain was prophecy. What tried to break you was shaping you. The fire that felt like destruction was actually construction, building something in you that this dying world desperately needs to see. But here's the question that will determine whether Thursday changes everything or changes nothing. Will you finally believe that your pain had purpose? Or will you let another day pass thinking you've suffered for nothing? Because what I'm about to reveal about Thursday's supernatural timing will prove that every tear you've shed has been a seed planted for a harvest you're about to reap. You know what breaks my heart? It's watching God's chosen ones sit in their living rooms at 2 a.m., staring at their pills on the nightstand, wondering if anyone would even notice if they just disappeared. It's hearing grandmothers whisper, "God, I've tithed for 60 years, where's my breakthrough?" It's seeing grandfathers who built this nation with their bare hands now feeling invisible, discarded, forgotten. But what if I told you that every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every moment you felt overlooked was actually God positioning you for Thursday's divine alignment? Listen to me, dear one. Luck is not some cosmic accident. Luck is divine timing colliding with a prepared heart. And your heart, battered, bruised, but still beating, has been preparing for this collision your entire life. Thursday is not chasing, it's allowing. It's stepping into the current that's been waiting for you. Think about the Jordan River for a moment. When Joshua stood at its banks with 2 million Israelites behind him, the water didn't part because he forced it. It parted because he stepped into the current at the exact moment heaven had ordained. Joshua 3:15 tells us that as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water stopped flowing. The miracle wasn't in the pushing, it was in the positioning. You've been standing at your Jordan for decades, haven't you? Watching others cross over while you remained on the bank, convinced you missed your moment. But what if Thursday is the day your feet finally touch the water's edge? What if every delay was God waiting for this exact alignment of your readiness and His timing? The enemy has whispered lies to you for years. You're too old. You missed your chance. God's moved on to younger vessels. But that's exactly what Satan told Sarah at 90 when God promised her a son. That's what he whispered to Moses at 80 when the burning bush called his name. That's what he screamed at Caleb at 85 when he declared, "Give me this mountain." Age isn't your disqualification, it's your authorization. Thursday carries a frequency that most people miss because they're looking for thunder when God often speaks in whispers. They're expecting earthquakes when miracles come disguised as phone calls. They're waiting for angels when blessing arrives through a grandchild's unexpected hug, a letter in the mail, or a sudden peace that settles over their spirit like warm honey. Elijah learned this truth in 1 Kings 19. After the spectacular showdown on Mount Carmel, he expected God to speak through fire, wind, and earthquake. But heaven spoke in a gentle whisper. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. Your Thursday miracle might not announce itself with trumpets. It might whisper through your doctor saying, "The tests came back clear." It might arrive through your estranged daughter calling to say, "Mom, I miss you." It might manifest as that social security check that somehow stretches further than it should. Don't despise the day of small beginnings. Zechariah 4:10 reminds us not to despise small things because God's eyes rejoice over them. But here's what's shaking me to my core right now. As I speak these words, I sense there are some of you who've been carrying shame about asking God for material blessings. You've been told that spiritual people shouldn't care about money, about health, about earthly comfort. That's a lie straight from hell, designed to keep you broke, sick, and defeated. Jesus himself said in Matthew 7:11, "If you, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him?" Good gifts, not just spiritual gifts. Good gifts. That includes the rent money, that includes the healing, that includes the restored relationship, that includes the dignity you've been denied. Thursday is heaven's way of saying, "I've been saving the best for last." Think about the wedding at Cana. When the wine ran out, when the celebration seemed over, that's when Jesus performed his first miracle. John 2:10 records the master of the banquet saying, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." You have saved the best till now. Every rejection was protecting you from settling for less. Every delay was positioning you for more. Every closed door was redirecting you toward the door that only opens for someone with your exact story, your exact scars, your exact faith. Thursday is not chasing, it's allowing. It's stepping into the current that's been waiting for you. Picture yourself standing at the bank of a mighty river. For years, you've been trying to swim against the current, exhausting yourself, barely staying afloat. But Thursday is the day you realize you don't have to fight the water, you have to trust it. The moment you stop struggling and start floating, the current carries you exactly where you need to go. This is why Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Rest isn't inactivity, it's alignment. It's working with God's rhythm instead of against it. If you've been waiting for confirmation, if you need a sign that this isn't just wishful thinking, write in your journal right now, "Thursday, I am ready." Don't just think it, write it, speak it so heaven hears. Because there's power in declaration, and Thursday is listening for the sound of faith rising from prepared hearts. But here's the question that will determine whether Thursday becomes your breakthrough or just another day. Are you ready to stop fighting the current and start trusting the one who controls the flow? Now listen to me, chosen one, because what I'm about to reveal will explain every strange thing that's been happening around you lately. You thought you were losing your mind, didn't you? Those repeated numbers that keep showing up everywhere on clocks, receipts, license plates. That conversation with a stranger at the grocery store that felt oddly significant. That sudden lifting of a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying. You're not going crazy. You're getting signals. Heaven doesn't send FedEx deliveries with your name on them. God doesn't text you updates about your breakthrough, but he does leave breadcrumbs, divine breadcrumbs, that only the chosen can see, only the spiritually hungry can taste, only those who've been waiting in the wilderness long enough to recognize his voice. And right now, those breadcrumbs are leading straight to Thursday. Let me tell you about Martha from Brooklyn, 83 years old, been praying for her prodigal son for 37 years. Last Tuesday, she kept seeing 111 everywhere on her prescription bottle. Her grocery bill came to $1.11. Even her doctor's appointment was at 1:11 p.m. She called me, voice shaking. "Pastor, what does this mean?" I told her what I'm telling you now. God is preparing to move. Thursday morning, her son called. First time in 15 years. "Mama," he said, "I'm coming home." The numbers weren't coincidence. They were confirmation. Some of you have been having conversations lately that stick to your ribs. A cashier says something that hits you like lightning. Your neighbor mentions something that sounds like prophecy. A stranger on the bus speaks words that feel like they came straight from the throne room. You walk away thinking, "That was weird," but you can't shake it. That's not weird, beloved. That's God using human vessels to deliver divine messages. He did it with Balaam's donkey, didn't he? If God can speak through a mule, he can certainly speak through your mailman. But here's what's really happening, and this is going to blow your mind. You know that weight you've been carrying, that heaviness in your chest that makes you feel like you're walking through mud? Some of you woke up this week and it was lighter. Not gone, but lighter. Like someone loosened the straps on a backpack you'd been wearing for years. That's not your imagination. That's preparation. God is making room in your spirit for what Thursday wants to deliver. Think about Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19. He's running for his life, hiding in a cave, feeling forgotten and forsaken. God tells him to stand on the mountain because the Lord is about to pass by. There came a mighty wind that tore the mountains and broke rocks, but God wasn't in the wind. Then an earthquake, but God wasn't in the earthquake. Then fire, but God wasn't in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. That's where God was, in the whisper. You've been listening for the earthquake, haven't you? Waiting for the fire. But God's been whispering to you all along, in the repeated numbers, in the strange conversations, in the sudden lifting of that burden. Thursday is when the whisper becomes a shout. But let me tell you about sudden courage, because some of you have felt it this week. You found yourself speaking up in situations where you normally stay quiet. You made a phone call you'd been avoiding for months. You had a conversation that needed to happen. That courage didn't come from you, dear one. That came from heaven downloading boldness into your spirit, because Thursday is going to require you to step forward. Daniel understood this. Thrown into a foreign court, surrounded by enemies, facing a death sentence for praying to his God. But Daniel 6:10 says when he knew the decree was signed, he went home, opened his windows toward Jerusalem, and prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done. Where did that courage come from? From knowing that his God was bigger than their lions. You're feeling that same courage stirring, aren't you? That holy defiance that says, I don't care what it looks like. I'm going to trust God anyway. That's not stubbornness, beloved. That's spiritual preparation. Let me tell you something that will shock you to your core. Denzel Washington was getting his hair cut in a beauty salon in Mount Vernon, New York, when a woman walked up to him and said, "Young man, you're going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." He was nobody then, just another kid from the projects. But that woman saw what heaven had already written. She spoke Thursday into his life 30 years before it manifested. Somebody spoke Thursday into your life too. Maybe it was your grandmother's prayers. Maybe it was a pastor's prophecy you forgot about. Maybe it was your own desperate cry to God in your darkest hour. But Thursday was spoken over you long before you knew what Thursday meant. The signs aren't random, chosen one. They're reconnaissance. Heaven is surveying the territory, checking the coordinates, confirming that everything is in position for Thursday's delivery. The repeated numbers are GPS coordinates from glory. The strange conversations are encrypted messages from the throne room. The lifting weight is God making room in your spirit for what's coming. You know what this means? It means Thursday isn't coming to test you. Thursday is coming to crown you. It means you haven't been forgotten, you've been positioned. It means every delay, every closed door, every time you felt passed over wasn't rejection, it was divine protection until Thursday could arrive safely. The reason it felt delayed is because you were not behind you, were being positioned for Thursday. The table has been set, chosen one. The feast has been prepared. The invitation has been sent, and the RSVP deadline is Thursday. But here's the question that will determine whether you sit at the table or stand outside wondering what happened. But here's what's going to blow your mind, chosen one. This Thursday isn't just about you getting blessed. It's about you becoming the blessing that changes everything downstream. You see, most people think blessings are personal. They think when God moves in their life, it's just about their bank account, their health, their problems getting solved. But that's thinking too small. That's thinking like the world thinks instead of thinking like heaven thinks. When God blesses a chosen one, He's not just changing one life. He's detonating a divine explosion that will ripple through generations you'll never meet. Let me ask you something that might shake you to your core. How many prayers have you whispered over your children? How many sleepless nights have you spent on your knees, begging God to break the cycles of addiction, poverty, and heartbreak that have stalked your family tree for decades? Every single tear you've cried over your grandson who can't find his way. Every desperate plea you've made for your daughter who's struggling to make ends meet. Every time you've looked at the chaos in your family and wondered if God even cares about the next generation. Those prayers didn't disappear into empty air. They've been building up like pressure in a dam. And this Thursday is when the dam breaks. Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." Your season of planting prayers in secret is ending. Your season of harvesting blessings in public is beginning. But here's the mystery that will change how you see everything. When your Thursday breakthrough arrives, it doesn't just stop with you. It becomes the seed that transforms your entire bloodline. Think about this. Picture your grandmother's hands, weathered from decades of work, folded in prayer over your bed when you were 8 years old. She whispered words over your life that you probably don't even remember. But heaven remembers. Every single syllable is stored in the courts of eternity, earning compound interest for 70 years. Now picture yourself today. Those same hands that once received your grandmother's blessing are about to become the hands that release blessing over the next generation. The prayers she planted are about to sprout in ways that will leave your family speechless. This is how God operates. He thinks in generations, not just in moments. When Abraham received his blessing, it wasn't just about Abraham. Genesis 22:18 declares, "And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed." One man's Thursday became the foundation for millions of descendants. When Ruth chose loyalty over comfort, when she said, "Whither thou goest, I will go," she had no idea she was planting seeds that would produce King David and ultimately Jesus Christ himself. Her Thursday decision echoes through eternity. Your Thursday blessing is a stone being dropped into the center of a vast lake. You'll see the first splash, but the ripples will travel to shores you can't even imagine. That grandchild who's been breaking your heart with their choices. This Thursday's blessing will reach them in ways that your words never could. That son who stopped calling, the wave of favor rolling through your life will crash into his circumstances and wake him up. That daughter who's been struggling financially, the overflow from your breakthrough will create opportunities she never saw coming. But here's what most people miss. The ripple effect isn't automatic. It requires your participation. God is calling you to be more than a receiver of blessing this Thursday. He's calling you to be a releaser of blessing. The words that come out of your mouth on Thursday will carry more weight than they've carried in years. The declarations you make over your family will have the force of heaven behind them. This is why the enemy has been trying so hard to keep you silent. This is why you've felt discouraged about speaking life over your loved ones. Because he knows that when a chosen one who's been tested by fire finally opens their mouth in faith, mountains move. Isaiah 55:11 promises, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please." Your voice on Thursday will carry that same authority. I need you to understand something that will revolutionize how you see your role in your family. You're not just the oldest member of your clan, you're the spiritual gatekeeper. You're the one standing between generational curses and generational blessings. What you choose to speak this Thursday will determine which direction your family legacy flows. The addiction that's been passed down through 3 generations. Your Thursday blessing can break that chain forever. The pattern of financial struggle that's haunted your bloodline. This is the moment when abundance begins flowing the other direction. The spirit of depression and hopelessness that suffocated your family's dreams. Thursday is when joy becomes your family's new inheritance. But it requires you to step up. It requires you to stop seeing yourself as just another senior citizen waiting for life to happen to you, and start understanding that you are a senior general in God's army, positioned to make life happen through you. The prayers you've been praying in private are about to become prophecies you declare in public. The blessings you've been hoping for are about to become blessings you're releasing over others. This Thursday, I want you to call your children. Call your grandchildren. Look them in the eyes and speak words of life over their future. Don't just hope they get blessed. Become the voice that blesses them. Because the same God who used a burning bush to speak to Moses wants to use your burning heart to speak life into the next generation. The ripple effect starts with you, but it doesn't end with you. Are you ready to be the stone that God drops into your family's story to change everything downstream? Chosen one, I need you to feel the weight of what I'm about to declare over your life. For too long, you've been sitting in the waiting room of God's promises while others got called forward. For too long, you've watched the clock tick away precious years, wondering if your name was written in invisible ink on heaven's appointment book. But this Thursday, the waiting room closes forever. Listen to me. Isaiah 40:31 declares, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles." Do you hear that? Mount up, not crawl up, not struggle up. Mount up with supernatural velocity that defies every limitation this world placed on your age, your circumstances, your past failures. It's your Thursday, the day heaven stops whispering and starts shouting your name. Yesterday, you felt overlooked, invisible in a world that worships youth and dismisses wisdom. Yesterday, you questioned if God remembered your address, if your prayers were getting lost in heaven's mail system. Yesterday, you went to bed wondering if tomorrow would just be another day of the same emptiness, the same financial pressure, the same loneliness echoing through rooms that used to be full of laughter. But Thursday, you are remembered. God looked down the corridors of time and marked this specific Thursday with your name in letters of fire. Jeremiah 29:11 thunders across eternity. "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." An expected end. Not a hopeful maybe, not a wishful thinking. An expected end that's been scheduled in heaven's calendar since before you took your first breath. It's your turn. After decades of being patient, faithful and overlooked, it's your turn. Yesterday you were weary, bone-deep tired of smiling when your heart was breaking, tired of saying I'm fine when everything was falling apart, tired of being strong for everyone else while dying inside. Your shoulders have carried burdens that would have crushed lesser souls. Your heart has endured betrayals that would have made others bitter. Your faith has survived storms that would have shipwrecked the faith of people half your age. But Thursday, you receive wings of eagles. Not just strength to endure another day, but wings to soar above every circumstance that tried to keep you grounded. The same power that raised Christ from the dead, Romans 8:11, confirms it. That same resurrection power is activating in your mortal body this Thursday. Your weary bones will remember what it feels like to dance. Your heavy heart will remember what it feels like to sing. Your clouded mind will remember what it feels like to dream again. It's your moment, the moment when everything you've sown in tears becomes a harvest of joy. Do you remember the story of Hannah? 1 Samuel, chapter 1. She wept bitterly. Year after year, her womb closed, her heart broken, while others around her celebrated their blessings. She was mocked, misunderstood, forgotten by everyone except the God who sees. But when her appointed time came, when her Thursday arrived, she didn't just receive one blessing. She received Samuel, the prophet who would anoint kings and change nations. Your barren seasons are ending. Your closed doors are opening. Your delayed promises are being released. But here's what will shock you to your core. This Thursday, heaven is not just answering you, heaven is announcing you. You thought you were just getting a personal breakthrough. No, you're being positioned as a living testimony that God still moves in impossible ways. Your family will witness a miracle they never saw coming. Your neighbors will see favor that can't be explained. Your community will watch transformation that defies logic. When Thursday's blessing hits your life, it won't be quiet, it won't be subtle. It will be so undeniable, so overwhelming, so perfectly timed, that even your doubters will have to acknowledge that the hand of the Almighty moved on your behalf. The phone call that changes everything. The check that arrives when hope was gone. The relationship that heals when you thought love was dead. The health report that makes doctors scratch their heads. The opportunity that finds you instead of you chasing it. This Thursday, you're not just receiving a blessing, you're becoming one. Every tear you've cried in secret becomes liquid gold flowing into someone else's empty cup. Every prayer you prayed in desperation becomes a roadmap for someone else's miracle. Every year you've waited becomes proof that God's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't feel like it. Are you ready to stop being the person who almost got their breakthrough and become the person whose breakthrough shook the heavens? Because Thursday is coming, chosen one, and when it arrives, you'll finally understand why everything else had to wait. Do you wonder why Thursdays have felt so heavy in your life? Why the day before breakthrough always carried battles you couldn't name, couldn't explain, couldn't shake? Listen to me, chosen one. What I'm about to reveal will shatter the confusion you've carried for decades about why your life has been harder than others. Why you've faced storms that would have crushed ordinary people. Why Thursday nights have felt like wrestling matches with invisible forces that left you exhausted before dawn. Thursdays are not just days on a calendar. They are battlefields, disguised as ordinary time. The enemy of your soul knows something about Thursdays that most believers never discover. He knows that Thursday is the threshold day, the day that stands between Wednesday's preparation and Friday's breakthrough. It's the day when heaven's gears shift into position, when divine appointments lock into place, when miracles prepare to manifest. And hell mobilizes every Thursday to stop what Friday wants to birth. Think about this with me. When did Jesus face his greatest spiritual battle? Was it on the cross? No, beloved. It was Thursday night in the Garden of Gethsemane. Luke 22:44 tells us that his sweat was, as it were, great drops of blood falling down to the ground. Blood sweat. The Son of God, in such spiritual agony that his body began bleeding through his pores. Why Thursday night? Because the enemy knew what Friday morning would bring. He knew that in less than 24 hours, the keys of death and hell would be stripped from his hands forever. So he unleashed everything, every demon, every fear, every doubt on Thursday night to try to stop Friday's victory. You've been living this same pattern your entire life, haven't you? Every time you've been on the verge of breakthrough, Thursday has felt like warfare. The night before your interview, you couldn't sleep. The day before your surgery, anxiety overwhelmed you. The week before your financial breakthrough, everything went wrong. The month before your relationship was restored, the attacks intensified. That wasn't coincidence. That was reconnaissance. The enemy has been studying your pattern for decades. He knows when your blessing is about to arrive, so he hits you hardest right before delivery. He floods Thursday with doubt, fear, physical attacks, relationship problems, financial pressure, anything to make you quit one day before your miracle manifests. But here's what Satan never counted on. You're still here. After every Thursday battle, you survived. After every spiritual assault, you stood back up. After every night of wrestling with depression, rejection, and despair, you saw another sunrise. That's not human strength, dear one. That's divine DNA flowing through your bloodstream. The weight you felt on Thursdays wasn't punishment. It was proof that you carry something. Heaven values and hell fears. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. Why do you think your life has been so much harder than your neighbors? Why have you faced betrayals that would have destroyed weaker souls? Why have you endured losses that should have left you bitter, but instead left you compassionate? Because ordinary people don't carry extraordinary assignments. The Bible says in 1 Peter 4:12, "Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you." The trials aren't strange, they're strategic. Hell doesn't waste ammunition on empty vessels. The intensity of your Thursday battles has been proportional to the magnitude of your Friday breakthrough. Every single Thursday you've survived has been building something inside you that this generation desperately needs. Resilience that can't be taught in seminars, faith that can't be learned in books, authority that can only be forged in the furnace of real warfare. You've been wondering why you feel different from everyone else, why small talk exhausts you, why you can sense spiritual atmospheres that others miss completely, why you've always felt like you were carrying invisible weight that no one else seemed to notice. Now you know. You're not imagining it. You're not oversensitive. You're not broken. You're chosen. And chosen ones live under different atmospheric pressure. The Thursday battles haven't been random. They've been strategic attacks on someone heaven refuses to lose. Every demon that's come against you, every spirit of depression that's whispered lies in your ear, every force that's tried to convince you to quit, they all had one mission: stop you from reaching Friday. But look around you right now. You made it. You're still breathing. You're still believing. You're still standing. The battle was proof that you're carrying something precious. The warfare was evidence that your assignment matters. The intensity was confirmation that what's coming through you will shift atmospheres, break generational curses, and set captives free. If you've felt the warfare, if Thursday nights have been your Gethsemane, if you've wrestled with forces in the darkness that you couldn't name, type in the comments right now. The battle is proof. Say it aloud wherever you are. Let hell hear your declaration that you understand why you've been targeted. You survived because you are marked. You endured because you are chosen. You're still here because Friday's breakthrough requires Thursday's warrior. But here's what's about to shock you. This Thursday, the one approaching carries a different frequency. Instead of battle, it's bringing breakthrough. Instead of warfare, it's delivering your long-awaited victory. The question that will determine everything is this. Now that you understand why the enemy fought you so hard, are you ready to discover what he was trying to prevent? Dear chosen one, let me tell you something that will shatter every timeline you thought God was operating on. Thursday is not just another day crawling by on your calendar. Thursday is heaven's dress rehearsal for your Friday breakthrough. You've been living in Wednesday energy your whole life, haven't you? Wednesday feels like the middle of nowhere, not the beginning, not the end, just stuck in the painful center of waiting. You wake up every morning wondering if today will finally be the day God remembers your address. But you go to bed disappointed, again whispering to the ceiling, maybe tomorrow. But Thursday is the prophecy before the promise. Listen to me carefully. Your scars are scrolls, beloved. Every wound you've carried, every rejection that cut deep, every betrayal that left you bleeding, those aren't evidence of God's absence. They're manuscripts written in your flesh, preparing you for Thursday's unveiling. Your tears are testimonies waiting for their moment to speak. Think about Joseph for a moment. Genesis 37 tells us his brothers threw him in that pit on what I call a Thursday night of his life. Picture it, a 17-year-old boy, dreaming of greatness, suddenly staring up from the bottom of a hole, watching his own blood relatives sell him like cattle. That wasn't his ending. That was his Thursday rehearsal for ruling Egypt. 13 years. 13 years of slavery, false accusations, forgotten in prison. But every Thursday Joseph endured was God writing his Friday chapter. When Pharaoh finally called for him, Joseph didn't just get a job, he got dominion over the entire Egyptian economy. The pit was preparation, the prison was positioning, the pain was prophetic. You know what breaks my heart? I see you carrying the same Thursday energy Joseph carried. You've been through your pit season, you've survived your prison years, but you've been so focused on the pain of Thursday that you've missed its purpose. Let me tell you about another Thursday story. Her name was Oprah Winfrey. Fired from her first television job in Baltimore, told she was unfit for television news, rejected by an industry that couldn't see her worth. That was her Thursday. But what looked like career death was actually career preparation. Every closed door, every no, every moment of doubt, it was all rehearsing her for a platform that would touch millions. This is what Thursday does. Chosen one. Thursday takes your worst moments and transforms them into your greatest qualifications. But here's where it gets personal. Here's where your story intersects with divine timing. You've been carrying shame about your age, haven't you? You look around at 70, 75, 80 years old and think, God, did I miss my window? Did I waste my chance? You see younger people stepping into opportunities and whisper, maybe I'm too late. Stop right there. Moses was 80 when God called him from a burning bush. 80. While the world was measuring him for a rocking chair, heaven was fitting him for a staff that would split seas. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she finally laid eyes on the Messiah. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Your age isn't your disqualification, it's your qualification. Every Thursday you've lived through, every decade of disappointment, every year of wondering when it's been building something inside you that youth could never carry. Wisdom, endurance, unshakable faith. The kind of spiritual authority that can only come from surviving what should have destroyed you. Thursday is the candle's flicker before dawn, beloved. It's that moment when the darkness feels deepest, when you can barely see the flame anymore, when you wonder if the light will ever come again. But Thursday isn't the death of the candle, it's the gathering of strength before it blazes. Right now, this very moment, you're living in Thursday energy. That restlessness in your spirit, that sense that something is about to shift, that unexplained anticipation you can't quite name, that's Thursday preparing you for Friday's explosion. But here's the revelation that's going to change everything you thought you knew about God's timing. What you thought was silence was actually heaven writing your Thursday chapter. Every unanswered prayer, every delayed miracle, every moment you felt forgotten, God wasn't ignoring you. He was inscribing, He was authoring. He was crafting a Thursday story so powerful that when your Friday finally arrives, it will silence every voice that ever doubted your worth. The enemy wants you to believe that Thursday is your final destination, that the struggle is all there is, that the waiting is evidence of God's rejection. But I'm here to tell you that Thursday is not your period, it's your comma. It's not your ending, it's your preparation for the most beautiful beginning you've ever experienced. You want to know why Thursday has felt so long? Because the bigger the Friday breakthrough, the longer the Thursday preparation. God doesn't rush His masterpieces. He doesn't hurry His miracles. He takes His time to ensure that when your moment comes, you're not just ready to receive it, you're ready to steward it. Now I need you to do something that's going to activate the Thursday energy in your life. Take a piece of paper and write down one closed door that hurt the most. The job that rejected you, the relationship that ended, the dream that died, the opportunity that slipped away. Write it down. Now declare over that paper, "It was my Thursday rehearsal." Say it out loud. Mean it. Because what felt like your greatest failure was actually your greatest preparation for what's coming next. But the question that will determine whether your Thursday transitions into Friday is this: will you trust the process even when you can't see the purpose? But Thursday's power isn't just theory, beloved. It's not just pretty words to make you feel better for 5 minutes. Thursday leaves spiritual fingerprints on your soul, and right now, even as I speak, some of you are already feeling them. You've felt it, you've seen it, you've carried it. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because these aren't coincidences. These are divine signatures that heaven is writing across your life this very week. The first sign is your intuition becoming razor sharp. Have you noticed that your inner voice has been speaking louder lately? Those gentle nudges, those sudden knowings, those moments when you just sense something shifting in the atmosphere around you. That's not your imagination running wild. That's the Holy Spirit fine-tuning your spiritual antennae for what's coming on Thursday. The prophet Elijah knew this frequency. In 1 Kings 19:12, he heard a still small voice that was more powerful than earthquakes and fire. Your still small voice is getting louder because Thursday requires you to hear what others will miss entirely. God is upgrading your discernment because generic faith won't cut it for what he's about to release. But here's what's shocking while your spirit is sharpening. Have you noticed an unusual peace settling over situations that should be driving you crazy? That financial pressure that kept you awake for months suddenly feels manageable. That family drama that used to consume your thoughts barely registers anymore. That health concern that terrorized you last week now sits quietly in the back of your mind. You've felt it, you've seen it, you've carried it. This isn't denial, dear one. This is divine anesthesia. God is numbing the pain of your past so you can fully embrace the promise of your Thursday. Isaiah 26:3 declares, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee." That perfect peace isn't just comfort, it's preparation. Heaven is clearing your emotional slate so there's room for what's about to be written. But the third sign will stop you in your tracks. Your children, your grandchildren, even estranged family members are suddenly shifting. Phone calls you haven't received in years. Grandkids asking deeper questions. Adult children making better decisions without your advice. Prodigals turning corners you never saw coming. Why? Because Thursday's anointing doesn't just touch you, it ripples through your bloodline like a spiritual tsunami. When God marks you for breakthrough, He marks your entire generational tree. Exodus 20:6 promises that His mercy extends unto thousands of them that love me. Your Thursday appointment isn't just personal, it's generational. You've felt it, you've seen it, you've carried it. Think about this, chosen one. Right now, at this very moment, there's a contract being written in heaven's court with your name on it. For months, maybe years, that contract has been invisible, waiting for the perfect timing, the perfect alignment, the perfect Thursday, when all conditions would be met. But here's what most people don't understand about divine contracts. They're not written with earthly ink. They're sealed with the tears you've cried, signed with the prayers you've whispered, notarized with the faith you've maintained, when everything around you screamed, "Give up." Every sleepless night you spent crying out to God, that was you signing your name. Every morning you chose to get up and try again when quitting felt easier. That was you adding another clause to your blessing. Every time you forgave when revenge felt justified. That was you qualifying for favor that your enemies will witness but never understand. Thursday is when heaven puts ink on those invisible contracts. But I need to tell you something that will shake you to your very core. Some of you listening right now have been marked for Thursday breakthrough since before you were born. Before your first heartbeat, before your mother knew she was carrying you, God looked down the corridors of time and said, this one will carry Thursday anointing. Every trial you've survived was preparation for Thursday power. Every betrayal that should have broken you was actually building Thursday authority in your spirit. Every door that slammed shut was God protecting you from settling for less than Thursday blessing. Do you understand what this means? It means your pain wasn't punishment, it was positioning. Your delays weren't denials, they were developments. Your struggles weren't setbacks, they were setups for supernatural acceleration that begins this Thursday. But here's the part that will leave you speechless. This Thursday's blessing won't just visit you, it will mark you for the rest of your journey. When God moves on Thursday, He doesn't just change your circumstances, He changes your spiritual DNA. You won't be the same person Friday morning that you are right now. The widow's oil in 2 Kings chapter 4 didn't just fill her vessels for one day. It kept flowing until there were no more containers to fill. Your Thursday breakthrough isn't a one-time event, it's the beginning of a flow that will continue until you run out of capacity to receive. People will notice something different about you. They won't be able to name it, but they'll feel it. Your presence will carry weight. Your words will carry authority. Your prayers will carry power that makes heaven move and hell tremble. Right now, I need you to do something that might feel uncomfortable, but is absolutely necessary. Place your hand over your heart. Feel that steady rhythm. That's not just blood pumping. That's the drumbeat of Thursday calling your name. Whisper these words with me. Mark me, Lord, for Thursday. Don't just think it. Speak it. Let your voice carry your faith into the atmosphere where angels are listening and miracles are waiting. Because the question that will determine everything about your next 72 hours is this: will you position yourself to receive what Thursday is bringing, or will you let fear convince you that this kind of blessing isn't meant for someone like you? Listen to me, precious saint. That prayer you whispered over your sleeping grandchild 20 years ago, that desperate cry you lifted to heaven when your son was destroying his life with drugs, that broken-hearted plea you sobbed when your daughter walked away from God and never came back. Those prayers didn't die in the silence. They've been circling the throne of God like eagles, gaining power, gathering momentum, waiting for their appointed Thursday to land. You think your prayers expired because you didn't see immediate answers. But God's accounting system doesn't work on your timeline, beloved. Every tear you shed has been stored in heaven's bottles. Every midnight intercession has been recorded in eternity's ledgers. And this Thursday, this very Thursday, compound interest is about to be paid on decades of faithful crying out. You've carried the weight of your family's pain for so long that you forgot you weren't meant to carry it forever. You were meant to break it. Here's what heaven sees that you can't. Your bloodline has been under attack not because you're cursed, but because hell knows what's coming through your lineage. The enemy doesn't waste ammunition on families that pose no threat. But yours carries something dangerous to darkness. And this Thursday, what's been buried is about to break through the soil. I see a grandmother in Detroit. For 37 years, she's prayed for her grandson who's been in and out of prison, in and out of rehab, breaking her heart over and over again. She's 82 years old now. Her knees don't work like they used to. But every Thursday morning she still gets on those knees and cries out, "God, please don't let me die before I see him free." What she doesn't know is that this Thursday, her grandson is going to get a phone call that changes everything. A job offer he never applied for. A second chance he doesn't deserve. A door opening that's been sealed shut for decades. Not because he earned it, but because his grandmother's prayers finally reached their full weight in heaven's courts. That's how Thursday works for the chosen ones. It doesn't just touch you, it reverberates through your entire bloodline like thunder rolling across the mountains. Scripture declares in Joel 2:25, "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten." But here's what most people miss. God doesn't just restore to you, he restores through you. Your breakthrough becomes the breakthrough that sets your children free, your grandchildren free, your great-grandchildren who haven't even been born yet. You think you're just one old person praying in a nursing home in Queens, but heaven sees you as a generational game changer. You think your influence is over because your body is tired, but your spirit is about to unleash something that will echo through eternity. This Thursday is a pebble thrown into the still waters of your family's destiny, and the ripples. They're going to touch shores you'll never see with your natural eyes. I'm talking to the mother who buried her son 20 years ago and still sets a place at the table every Thanksgiving. You think your prayers for him ended when his heart stopped beating, but love doesn't die when bodies do. That love has been working in the unseen realm, and this Thursday it's going to manifest in his son, your grandson, who's been walking the same destructive path. The same addiction that took your boy is about to lose its grip on his boy. I'm talking to the father whose daughter hasn't spoken to him in 15 years. You lie awake at night wondering if you'll die without ever holding her again, without ever meeting your grandchildren. But Thursday carries reconciliation in its hands. The phone is going to ring. The text is going to come. The wall that seemed permanent is about to crumble like Jericho. Because here's the mystery of Thursday's power. What breaks in you breaks the pattern for everyone connected to you. The depression that's haunted your family for 4 generations, it stops with your Thursday breakthrough. The poverty that's followed your bloodline like a curse, it ends when Thursday opens heaven's storehouse over your life. The addiction, the abuse, the abandonment, all of it meets its match when heaven decides your family has suffered long enough. Isaiah 61:3 promises beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. But notice, it's not just your ashes that become beauty, it's generational ashes. Your mourning becomes your family's joy. Your heaviness becomes their praise. You've been the one who held the line when everyone else gave up. You've been the one who kept believing when faith looked foolish. You've been the one who prayed when prayer felt pointless. And Thursday? Thursday is when heaven says, "Thank you for not quitting." Now watch what your faithfulness has purchased. What you're about to witness isn't just personal breakthrough. It's bloodline breakthrough, family tree breakthrough, legacy breakthrough that will make your great-great-grandchildren thank God for the ancestor who refused to stop praying on Thursdays. The enemy thought he was destroying your family with decades of pain, but God was using every trial to prepare you for this Thursday, when you would become the answer to every prayer your ancestors ever prayed. If you can receive this word, if something in your spirit is confirming that this Thursday is different, I need you to do something right now. Speak aloud the names of your children, your grandchildren, everyone connected to your bloodline. Declare over them, "This Thursday, what's been broken breaks with me, and what's been blessed blesses them." Because Thursday isn't just coming for you, chosen one. It's coming through you to reach every life that carries your DNA, your name, your prayers. But what you don't understand yet is why Thursday specifically carries this generational power, and why your family's deliverance was always connected to this exact moment in time. Dear chosen one, you've been living with counterfeit currency your entire life, haven't you? Trading your dreams for disappointment, exchanging your faith for fear, swapping your divine inheritance for earthly scraps. But Thursday, this Thursday, heaven is about to crash the counterfeit market forever. Listen to me carefully. Every single delay you've cursed, every door that slammed in your face, every time you screamed, "Why me, God?" you thought it was abandonment. But it was preparation for the greatest exchange in your spiritual history. The enemy convinced you that your scars were shame, but God sees them as currency. He's been collecting every tear, cataloging every betrayal, banking every sleepless night where you cried out for breakthrough. And on Thursday, he's cashing them all in. Isaiah 61:3 isn't just a pretty Bible verse, beloved. It's your Thursday transaction receipt. To give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. But here's what preachers won't tell you. This isn't some distant heaven promise. This is Thursday's business plan. You want to know why your Thursday feels different already? Because the spiritual stock exchange is about to open, and you've got more shares in heaven's economy than you ever imagined. Think about Jacob wrestling with the angel all night. Genesis 32 tells us he walked away with a limp, but also with a blessing that changed his bloodline forever. Thursday is your wrestling match, chosen one. You're going to walk away marked, but you're also walking away changed. The limp becomes your testimony, the struggle becomes your strength. But here's where it gets shocking. You think you're fighting for something on Thursday. No, you're fighting to release something. Heaven is trying to pry your fingers off the very things that have been poisoning your purpose. That toxic relationship you keep resurrecting, that poverty mindset you inherited from 3 generations back, that fear that's been your security blanket since childhood. Thursday is the day heaven says, "Drop it. I've got something better." The delay you hated was actually heaven trading your weakness for weapons. Every year you spent in the wilderness wasn't wasted time, it was weapons training. Moses spent 40 years learning that his strength wasn't in Egyptian privilege but in divine dependency. David spent years in caves discovering that God's presence was more powerful than any palace. And you've been in your own preparation chamber, learning that your breakthrough doesn't come from your resume, it comes from your relationship with the one who writes destinies. But Thursday isn't just about what you're getting, it's about what you're becoming. The woman who gets her financial breakthrough Thursday isn't the same woman who filed bankruptcy 3 years ago. The man who receives his healing Thursday isn't the same man who got that diagnosis. Thursday doesn't just change your circumstances, it rewrites your DNA. Heaven is handing you a new script on Thursday. The old script said struggle. The new script says strength. The old script said barely making it. The new script says abundantly blessed. The old script said forgotten. The new script says favored beyond measure. Can you feel that rumbling in your spirit right now? That's not your stomach, that's the sound of heaven's printing press working overtime, preparing your Thursday blessing with your name embossed in gold. But I need you to understand something that will rock your theology. This exchange isn't automatic. Thursday requires your participation. God won't force the old out of your hands. You have to release it. You have to choose the exchange. Some of you are holding on to that grudge like it's your social security check. Some of you are clutching that self-pity like it's your identity card. Some of you are gripping that I'm not worthy mentality like it's your safety net. Thursday is the day you open your hands. The prophet Zechariah saw a vision in chapter 3, Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord in filthy garments. But God didn't clean the clothes. He removed them entirely and clothed Joshua with rich robes. That's your Thursday, beloved. God isn't patching up your old life. He's giving you a completely new wardrobe. This Thursday is not your end. It is the day heaven says, the exchange is complete. The ashes of your failed marriage, exchanged for the beauty of divine purpose. The mourning over your lost dreams, exchanged for the oil of joy that flows from new vision. The spirit of heaviness that's been your companion for years, exchanged for the garment of praise that makes demons flee. But here's the urgency that should grip your soul right now. Exchange rates fluctuate, windows close, and this Thursday carries an exchange rate that may never come again in your lifetime. The market is hot. Heaven's currency is strong, and your portfolio of pain is about to pay dividends that will fund your destiny for generations. If you feel that fire burning in your chest right now, if something inside you is roaring, yes, this is my time, don't you dare stay silent. Heaven is listening for your voice. Shout it or type it. The exchange is mine. Don't let heaven hear silence on your Thursday, because what happens next will prove that your Thursday wasn't just another day. It was the day everything you lost was returned with interest, everything broken was made beautiful, and everything the enemy stole was restored sevenfold. The exchange table is set. Your name is being called. Will you step forward and claim what's rightfully yours? Beloved chosen one, as we reach the end of this sacred encounter, I need you to carry these eternal truths with you like precious jewels in your heart. Remember this, Thursday is not just another day on your calendar, it's your divine appointment with destiny. You are not too old, not too late, and certainly not forgotten. Every delay you've endured was heaven's way of preparing you for an exchange so magnificent that it required decades of refinement to make you ready to receive it. Remember that your scars are not your shame, they are your credentials. Your struggles were not your punishment, they were your preparation. And your Thursday breakthrough isn't coming because you're perfect, but because you're positioned. But hear me clearly, dear one. You are not walking this path alone. Even when the road feels uncertain, even when doubt whispers lies in your ear, the Creator of the universe is orchestrating every detail of your Thursday miracle. He's moving mountains you can't see, opening doors you haven't found yet, and preparing blessings you can't even imagine. And right here, in this sacred community we've built together, you have thousands of brothers and sisters who understand your journey. We're not just viewers on a screen. We're a family, united by faith, connected by hope, and bound together by the promise that our Thursday has come. Let me ask you this final question, and let it settle deep in your spirit. Now that you know Thursday is your day of divine exchange, how will you walk differently when you wake up tomorrow morning? Before I release you into your destiny, join me in this prayer. Right now, wherever you are, close your eyes and let me speak over your life. Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, I come before you, carrying every person who has watched this message. Father, you see their hearts, you know their struggles, you've counted every tear they've cried in secret. But you also see their Thursday, you know their breakthrough. You've already written their victory story. God, I place my hand on their shoulder right now through these words. Let them feel your presence. Let them know beyond any doubt that they are loved, they are chosen, and their Thursday is sealed in heaven. Break every chain of doubt that whispers they're not worthy. Silence every voice that says it's too late. Destroy every lie that their best days are behind them. Father, breathe fresh wind into their weary souls. Where they feel depleted, restore them. Where they feel forgotten, remind them of their worth. Where they feel overwhelmed, be their strength. Open doors that no man can shut. Provide resources they haven't even thought to ask for. Send divine connections that will accelerate their purpose. Lord, let this Thursday be the day everything changes. Let it be the moment their struggle turns to strength, their mourning turns to dancing, their ashes become beauty. May they wake up Thursday morning not as survivors, but as victors. Not as forgotten, but as favored. Not as strugglers, but as overcomers. In Jesus' mighty name, let every promise you've spoken over their lives come to pass. Let their Thursday be marked in heaven as the day you proved that you are still the God who sees, the God who remembers, and the God who never fails. Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, share what God spoke to your heart today. What are you believing Him for this Thursday? Don't hold back. Your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to keep believing. Type "My Thursday is here" if you're ready to step into your divine exchange. And if this message touched your soul, please share it with someone who needs to hear that their breakthrough is closer than they think. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell. You're not just subscribing to content, you're joining a movement of believers who refuse to give up, who choose faith over fear, and who know their best days are not behind them, but ahead of them. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart, for believing when believing was hard, and for trusting that your Thursday has come. Your faithfulness to watch until the very end tells me everything I need to know about your heart. You're ready for what God has prepared. Until we meet again, walk in the authority of your calling, rest in the certainty of His love, and remember, you are not alone, you are not forgotten, and your Thursday breakthrough starts now. God bless you mightily, chosen one. Your exchange is complete. Now go and walk in it.